Oh, yeah.
Liven up.
Yeah, it does.
Lighten up. Yeah.
That's right. Okay, we're live. Here we go. So
my screen has been saying we've been live for a few moments now, so hence my welcome.
yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes. So, what are we discussing today, Deb? What's the topic that we're going to share with those that are viewing live or later?
Self-care. Self-care is always important to talk about. It's in busy times, as modern life is always, we can often put ourselves last or not make any space for self-care. And there is the analogy of, when a plane is having some trouble and the oxygen masks full, they say, put your own mask on first. If you are not oxygenating yourself, you're going to be no good for anyone. So as much as you want to be of service to others, you need to do certain things for self-care. And there are some things that we just know are non-negotiable. We need to put petrol in the car, even if we're running late for a meeting. If it's on empty, we go, well, if I don't stop, I'm not ever going to get there. Or I kind of like to think about going to the toilet. It's only so long you can hold off that. And we don't go, well, I will just go without because I have more important things to do. And so we go, well, that's just non-negotiable. It just has to happen. And we don't have to apologize for, excuse me, please, I need to go to the bathroom. The thing is now that we might have had some self-care things in place, I feel a bit guilty and embarrassed to say this, but I'll put it out there. I actually have a regular appointment with my beautician every Monday. And I just turn up and say, okay, do whatever. I'll have a pedicure or I'll have a massage or whatever. And I, of course, can't go to that. My kind of personal training facility, that's closed, so I can't do that. And lots of things. So how do we replace them? What can we do to still make sure that we're doing self-care if we hadn't been doing self-care, or replace our self-care routines if we did have them?
Yeah, the first thing I would say is just notice the if we're starting to feel, for me particular, I know when I'm neglecting self-care, when I feel a bit snacky and grumpy, and when I have a response in me that's like, oh, would everyone just F off? Stop asking me for things, stop, then I know that there isn't balanced self-care. And that's when I realize, okay, all of these practices that have kind of slowly slipped because I've been prioritizing looking after other people in various capacities who might be struggling, and recognizing that this is the second time today I've heard the analogy of the airplane, put your oxygen mask on first. And it's a really common one, right? And so first things first is to be present enough with ourselves to notice if we're struggling to breathe, that everything else needs to stop, and there needs to be a prioritization of that. And then what I do is kind of ask the body, what do you need right now? What do you need? And when I asked that question today, the response was, I need a digital detox day. So even though I didn't have internet yesterday, because a lot of the day was spent trying to work out different aspects about it, it wasn't really a digital detox day. So I don't know if that's something, well, that's a practice I think we all could use and benefit from, a day that's without any screen time, and allowing ourselves to do what we will in that space. But that was what came up for me when I asked the question. And so what do you need right now is almost the same way that you know, a parent might comfort a child, or that's having a bit of a tantrum, and you know, or a crying baby, you know, that kind of idea of like, what do you need right now? And so noticing the feedback in me that's getting a little bit like that, and responding accordingly.
Yeah, now, so I hear your process is that you notice at a behavioral level, the behavioral output of a thought like, F off, stop asking things of me. And that prompts you to ask the question, what are you needing right now? Something's out of balance, something is needed. And, you know, at a generalized level, all of us can use that structure. Have something you notice is a signal that says, I haven't been caring for self enough. And then ask the question, what do you need? Thinking about, though, babies, how they cry or fuss in some way when they're needing something. And when we hear a baby kind of fuss or cry or whinge or moan or whatever you want to call it, our thoughts, there's no question in our mind, something is wrong. Either the nappy is wet or dirty, or the tummy is hungry or has pain, or they're frightened that they might be alone and no one's there. A loving carer doesn't have any thoughts or assumptions that the crying could be for no reason at all. Is immediately looking for the reason without judgment, and seeking to satisfy that need that's being cried out for. And so we're not really any different. We might have judgment about ourselves as adults, that there's appropriate ways for us to be asking that are sweet and gracious. But the truth is, when our system needs something, it will cry out for it in some way. So that's a really beautiful analogy. Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's how we spoke, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, about being gracious with ourselves. And that's you know, gracious with others when stuff spills over. And it's really important that in order to be gracious with others when their stuff spills out, when they're kind of vomiting their behaviors on us, we also need to do that for ourselves, you know, and noticing those recognizing that there's nothing wrong, like when a baby cries, it's just a message. There's something that needs adjusting or attending to. There's some need that's not being met. And yeah, to appreciate.
Can I share honestly that I think that we are doing that well? Yesterday, you didn't have internet, and that's very, very frustrating. And I actually didn't find you snappy with me at all. I mean, you did say, okay, just we'll talk about that later. Let me go and just get this sorted. I didn't find that super snappy, but then you sent me a message going, oh, I'm sorry that if I'm a bit snappy, like nothing frustrates me more than the technology not working. And I just said, yeah, me too. I'm a horrible person when I'm frustrated with technology. So that's, you know, us navigating that, I think, in quite a nice way. But I hadn't thought that you were snappy to me. But still, yeah. you might have been feeling it inside yourself, but to just kind of, I suppose my structure was the Me Too one. Like, yeah, I do that too. It's okay. We do that. And
that's another really beautiful structure to share, you know, the recognition of, I find that one, using that structure really supports me in being more compassionate with others when we are experiencing them as grumpy or whatever it is, that sense of, I do that too. I know when I'm, you know, stretched or this or that, whatever the context, I also get snappy or this or that, or, you know, so that's also a really valuable structure to share, because of course we're not the only ones that, if we're struggling with our self-care routines, imagine your partner might be also having the same challenges, right? We're all in it together. And in a novel set of circumstances, right? I have a client who has all 4 children home now, and you know that it is a change to our normal way of operating, and new self-care routines will need to be established in and through this season. So yeah, so the encouragement for today is to,
oh, can I tell you a new self-care routine that I have?
yeah,
Because my personal trainer was like, I'm going to keep you accountable just because you can't come into the gym. No excuses. You've got a lot of people to look after, and my job is to make sure you look after you. And so I went, okay, I'm getting a lecture here. And what I committed to was using the Pomodoro method. That might be helpful to some people. And that is, we know that our cognitive sharpness lasts somewhere between 10 minutes and 30 minutes. I know Dick Smith, he works in 10-minute bursts. He doesn't stop working, but he has several projects and he sets a timer. And so he does 10 minutes on this project, and then he just shifts to another project and another and another. And the mind is fresh. I remember when I was writing my book too, I'd be working on a chapter and my mind would get all kind of tired and foggy. And I'd go, oh, look, I'm going to go to another chapter and read what I've got there. And so I'm still working on the project, but I moved to another part of it to keep my mind fresh. So in any case, a fair amount of research went into what's the average optimal, and 25 minutes works really well. Pomodoro is Italian for tomato. And it came about that the person who discovered it, whose name escapes me right now, used a kitchen timer for cooking eggs or what have you, and it was shaped like a tomato. And so that's why it was called, they're called Pomodoros. And so a Pomodoro is a set amount of time where you focus on one task until the bell goes off. And so the optimum, or the average optimum, is 25 minutes focused burst of work and a 5-minute break. And then a 25-minute, another focus burst can be on the same thing, and a 5-minute burst. And after you've done 4, which is 2 hours, you take a half an hour break. Seems a bit scary to me, taking a half an hour break every 2 hours through the day. But anyway, so I said, what I will do is, in those 5 minutes, I had suggested that I would just sit quietly and meditate. I had said, maybe I can walk up and down the street for 5 minutes. But then I thought, no, really what I need is my mind to rest in that 5 minutes. So I'll just sit quiet. And him being a personal trainer, though, he's into movement. He said, how about one of those Pomodoros where you're like, I'm on the phone talking to people, make it a walking phone call, 1 in 4. And I went, oh, what a brilliant idea. So I said, I wouldn't do that while I'm coaching someone, because I want to be fully focused and able to write notes and catch words and things. And I don't want them distracted by background noises in my mic. But if I'm calling you, for instance, checking in with you and saying, oh, how did you do with the IT issue, or, and just having girlfriend time with you, I could do that while I'm walking. Mm-hmm. And if I kind of schedule routinely throughout the day, those more kind of casual check-ins or meetings, that I'm walking while I'm doing it, that's my new self-care kind of experiment that I'm going to try this week.
Yeah, that reminds me. I used to do Pomodoros regularly with my Bali girls mastermind group, and we would do a timer for 20 minutes, and then 10 minutes, like, what are we going to get done, and then check in afterwards. Did we do the thing, and set another timer? So, and that was really effective. And obviously Pomodoro is one of the best productivity tactics we can use. So to combine that with the breaks being self-care is a great way to factor that into our day as well, and be thinking more holistically in terms of how can I weave this into the other things that I'm doing and already. Yeah, beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that us? Are we done?
Yeah, we'll wrap up today's episode with that. Give us some feedback, leave us a comment, let us know if there's anything else you'd like us to discuss or share. We're always open to feedback and hearing from you. What is it that you want? And we'll speak on that. We'll be back on Monday with another episode. So thanks for tuning in, and I hope you have a brilliant rest of your day. Bye for now.
Thanks, Hum. Bye-bye.
Bye.